Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ChiroBusinessMojo. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle player, or MP3 player. Welcome to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast, where we deconstruct the methods, marketing, and mindset of successful business people and chiropractors from around the world. And now your host, Dr. Richard Day. Joining us today is Dr. Danny DeReuter. He was born in Cologne, Panama, and moved to Miami, Florida when he was 15 years old. He's a graduate of Life University College of Chiropractic and practices in Dalton, Georgia. He's also a diplomate of the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. He's fluent in Spanish and Portuguese and has treated hundreds of Hondurans as part of the work of the Lifeline Ministries. He's co-owner of Earth's Remedies, a local health supplement store. He's a public speaker, social media enthusiast, and expert. He is the author of the book, The Art of the Twitter Complaint, How to Get the Most Customer Service Bang by Tweeting. He is a professed lover of efficiency whose self-proclaimed mission is to save the world. Welcome, Dr. Danny DeReuter.
Hi, well, thank you for having me.
You bet. Please feel free to jump in and fill in any gaps that I may have glossed over in that introduction.
Well, I mean, nothing. I'm just a regular guy. I'm a chiropractor. I love what I do. And I really do feel like I have to save the world. I have to always do more. And it's, people tell me I have a superhero complex. I guess that's true.
Well, what piqued my interest initially when I was first reading about you was the work you've done in Honduras and in Central America. So give us a quick overview of what that was like and what you did.
Well, it was a one-time, it was a mission trip. It wasn't through a chiropractic organization or anything. It was through my church. And what they did, they got a team to go out down to Honduras, and I was part of the quote medical team. There was a dentist, there was an optometrist, there was several MDs, nurses, and I was just part of that. And the thing is, it was we always, as chiropractors, sometimes we get down on what the other guys do. Mm-hmm. But most, we're like, oh, they're doing vaccinations. Most of the things that we're doing is just basic, dealing with infections, dealing with cuts, dealing with stuff that some of these people would never have access to, like a professional helping them. So we were actually there doing good. We were doing good. We were not. I don't feel we were promoting this huge agenda for the drug companies or anything. We were just helping people, and that was a great experience.
Well, if you're going to set out to change the world, what better way to do it than to go out into the world, and especially places that are maybe underserved, and give them that sort of help. So I applaud you for doing that.
And I think every chiropractor should have that experience.
Yeah, I agree. I've never done anything like that, and I suppose they were around when I was in school. I just didn't realize it or hear about them. And like you said, yours was just through your church. But I think serving is so important, and we maybe don't think about it because we're so involved in, especially as a student.
Yeah, and you don't have to serve in Honduras. You could go down to the inner city and offer services to the homeless. Or it doesn't have to be that dramatic. It can be something that you do. What we've done here, we have a community chiropractic day that people just do donations, and we don't make a big deal. We'll just adjust people's atlas, and they'll just give us a donation, and that's it.
Well, that's a great way. I think do you have any links or anything we could share with people? We'll get to that later in this, but sure. Okay, we'll talk about that at the end, and we'll put those up on our page on the show notes. Right now, I want to transition into your current business. Tell us about your practice.
Okay, my practice is, and I think like everyone else, it's changed throughout its lifetime. When I first started, I moved to town 45 minutes north of Atlanta, Dalton, Georgia, initially because it was this is the carpet capital of the world. And back in 2006, 2005, this was literally a boom town. and they needed a Spanish-speaking chiropractor. I remember I answered an ad because I thought, well, this job is made for me. There's nothing, I'm the only person that fits all these qualifications.
Uh-huh.
So and sure enough, and I did take the job for a group, and I eventually, how it is. You don't always get compensated what you're promised.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up going on my own, and here I am 10 years later. I love what I do.
So 10 years, is that how long you've been in practice?
I have been total in practice is about 19 years. But since I am in my current practice, it's been 10 years.
So what is the focus of your practice? Are you family practice, pediatrics?
I am a family practice. We're mostly a membership practice.
Okay.
And I know that's a lot of people don't know what that means. Basically, it's like a gym membership. People pay a set fee and come. What we do is 5 adjustments a month, weekly. You get one a week and one for good measure, just in case.
Okay. So you're not accepting insurance or anything like that. It's strictly membership.
Strictly membership, yes. And that was a transition. We didn't start off that way, but when our little boom town here, when the economy tanked, everything changed.
Mm.
So there was massive layoffs, and so I had to change the practice. And I found a membership model. I didn't come up with this thing. I found the membership model, and it's been great for us. And I finally feel like I practice the way I want.
Yeah. Now, this transition, and you've sort of got my interest here. Was it a very quick transition, or did this happen over 6 months or a year? And if so, did you experience a downturn that you had to survive and get through in order to get where you are today?
It was what we decided, and we were warning people, I guess, for 4 or 5 months. January 1st, we are not taking any more insurance, and we are doing the membership. And I priced it. It was almost like we had to do it like a no-brainer. So when we started the membership, it was a very low price. It was something like $69 a month. It was at the time it was unlimited.
Okay.
So it was, and yes, there was a huge drop because people were used to a certain type of practice. But to be honest with you, it had gotten so bad with, reimbursements and the paperwork and the whole thing that the first 2 months, I guess, were a dramatic drop. Mm-hmm. But since it has been, I've been doing membership for about 4 years already.
Okay.
And I have every year has been stronger than the year before. So it's not, it's been steady growth. Mm. And I love that when I am done, I get to go home. I don't have to do paperwork. It is stress-free.
Well, that's really good news. So much has changed in the world of reimbursement in the last 2 or 3 years, and now we're seeing sky-high deductibles and $50, $60, and $70 copays. And I think that's becoming more and more attractive for folks who have maybe been in the insurance networks and have been afraid to take that leap. So your story is really good for folks to hear the success you've had doing that, even getting way in front of this because of what was happening in your town, not because of the insurance changes.
Yeah, and when we had to do something dramatic, and because the way it was going, it didn't look good, and it was almost in desperation. And like most changes, and I think when somebody makes a major change, it's usually I wouldn't say in desperation, but it's something dramatic that happens that makes you because everyone gets a little bit complacent and lazy, and you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to change things. But circumstances made us do it, and I'm glad that happened.
Well, Doctor, you are obviously very accomplished. What your mission work you've done, owning your supplement store, being an author and a social media expert, as well as a practicing chiropractor. How do you keep yourself organized and energized?
I don't keep myself organized. I am as scattered as anybody. But I try. Everyone tries to keep organized. I meditate when I can, when I remember. I try to write things down, and whenever I find a little paper that I wrote things down on, I try to knock off what's on the list. But yeah, I am no magician, guru, or anything like that. I'm just a regular guy that I happen to enjoy what I do, and I even the social media, I get a kick out of it. So I like doing it, and sometimes people say, well, you post constantly, you post so much online, and yeah, but I enjoy it. It's something that if sometimes you'll see something interesting about chiropractic, the other time you'll see my lunch. You'll see me complain about traffic, but it's that's the thing. It's me, and I guess you are. If you're going to do social media, your personality has to come across for it to be genuine. Actually, with anything, really, people. You may have a fancy logo, you may have a fancy office, but you know what? The bottom line is people are buying you and what you do, and if that comes across as fake, then that's not going to work.
I wholeheartedly agree. Authenticity, I think, is key, especially in our business. We are a person-to-person business, so
exactly.
I don't think that can be understated. Have you ever had a mentor?
I have had, sure, the big guys but a personal mentor. When I was in school, I had a good friend of mine still, Michael Semeka, and I admired his style of practice that at the time was crazy. People would just walk in, sign in. If the phone rang, the patients would answer. They would pull their files. So he was a one-man operation, and I was I was amazing to me how he could see the volume that he did with just him. Obviously, I don't practice exactly like him because I don't like answering my phone, and I don't. There's a lot of things that I don't like to do myself. Mm-hmm. And when I'm with a client I try not to call them patients because we try and call them clients, practice members, whatever. But when I'm with a practice member, you've got to be present and running and answering a phone or worrying about insurance or anything like that will distract you. So I have I've got all sorts of tapes, Dr. Fid, Sigafoost, and listen to those, and those keep me motivated. But I've never hired consultants. I've never hired practice management or anything like that. Maybe I should have, but I never have.
Well, what methods are you finding right now are the best for finding and bringing in new practice members into your practice?
Well, I have used. I don't advertise much anymore in the newspaper. Social media works, and even the internet, like the daily deals, has worked for us. Now, a lot of I know I've met a ton of chiropractors that say the Groupon and the Living Social has never worked for them, but there's a trick to using them, and you have to realize that you're not going to. The whole idea of the coupon, the discount, is to bring butts to the table, and then you try to convert them, and then you do your thing, and hopefully on the net they'll buy what you are quote selling. And we are selling chiropractic, we're selling health, and I and here's another thing. A lot of people have their fancy sales pitch that it's programmed, and I was never And I remember when I was an employee and I had to learn these things, it never felt right. It never felt so. What I do, I don't sell. I just since they came in with their coupon or their discount, we show them what we do. We actually perform a service and say, you know what, this is what you need, and if you are interested, here are our fees. Okay, so thank you very much, and that's it. And a lot of in our profession, I think we also have we have this used car salesman. People perceive us as, okay, what are they going to, when's the shoe going to drop? What sales technique are they going to use? And when you don't do that, that's almost shocking. And so that our conversion rate is really good. I would say, and we're not selling $5,000 care plans either. We're doing something very basic, a membership, and anybody, very affordable. So our conversion is very good.
So in addition to chiropractic adjustments, what other services are you providing as part of this membership?
That's it.
Just the adjustment.
Just the adjustment.
Gotcha.
And of course, you have to. People aren't going to buy or sign up for something that they don't feel they're getting value for. So you do have to explain what you do and make them see the value. And once they see the value to it, I have people, like I told you, I've been doing this for about the membership for about 4 years. I have people that have been with me for the 4 years. And so what's your per visit average? I don't know. I know it's a lot.
So there aren't key metrics that you're using to measure your performance. You just see the growth.
I just see the growth, the growth in numbers. Honestly, I used to have a metric called dollars per spine. Mm-hmm. And then and there is we do about 70% in membership and then about 30% in, because I also offer a walk-in fee. And if we keep the walk-in fee at about 30%, that's a good mix. And we found that's we get the most. I guess we make the most money when it's about at that percentage.
Well, I want to shift now and talk about another thing that you mentioned earlier that you are doing, which is more the social media aspect of things. I think that the younger chiropractors have grown up to a certain extent with social media, and those of us that have been in practice are maybe for a while or maybe late to the table. What do chiropractors need to know about social media? What's going on today? Why should they be interested?
Well, you should be interested because for the most part, it's free. It's free eyeballs looking at your content, whatever the content is. I mean, and your content doesn't have to be, something necessarily chiropractic. Because here's the thing: people don't really care. People don't. Who cares about chiropractic? Chiropractors. Right. People don't care about chiropractic. People care about health. So if you're posting very interesting information in general about health, people will be interested. People will follow you. But you know what? People want to know about you. So if you post pictures of your sandwich, you will get likes. People want to know what's going on with you, what's going on with your head. People want to see what your kids look like. So that stuff, believe it or not, works better. And if you can sandwich a promotion or something in between pictures of your sandwiches and your kids and your vacation, then I believe that works better because people trust you already, rather than just sending promotions via social media that somebody you paid for that just has these stale messages that go out on a constant basis. You kind of tune them out.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, and I think that especially students that come right out of school, they're very eager and they want to tweet a lot about spine health and the things that they've learned. But, I always compare it to another healthcare profession. If I follow my dentist online and he's talking about what he can do now for molars, I may not be that. I might end up hiding that feed at a certain point.
Exactly. There's only so much you can take about molars, or for instance, atlases. If you're not a chiropractor, I don't necessarily care about what you're saying. But you know what? Hey, look. He's got kids. Oh, okay. He's not particularly a good-looking guy, but seems like a nice guy. That kind of thing. And that's what gets you. That's what people trust you. And I've had people that I've met on Twitter 2 years later, and you know how and every bit of social media is different. You have to for instance, a Facebook post has a long lifespan. You'll post something and it could be there all day, getting comments throughout the day. If you're on media like Twitter, a post will last about 10, 15 minutes, and that's it. You got to do a new one. So everything is a little bit different. So I guess I have kind of mastered the way to do it, because it's just part of what I do. And if I'm stuck in traffic, I will send a little tweet that goes, "Darn it, grr, I'm stuck in traffic." And then you'll get 4 people that follow you. They're like, "Yes, I'm." But from that, I have gotten various clients. People like, "Oh, I know you're a chiropractor. I've seen your post. Hey, this happened. I need to come in." I'm not going to refuse that. So I guess you have to look at it as an ongoing thing, and not like, how many dollars am I going to get from Twitter today? Because it is a gradual thing, and just you have to farm it. Like I was in real estate, I remember, and you would have to farm your area, and you kind of have to farm your social media. You have to you plant the seed and you wait for it to grow.
So we have Facebook and Twitter. Are there other platforms that we should be on as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I have. There are some services that, like Hootsuite, and I use one called Buffer, that you can aggregate everything, and you can post one thing and it will go to multiple services. I have found. I also do. One thing I like, there is an app called IFTT, which is it's a if this then that. Then you can program it whenever you post, for instance, a photo on Instagram. It will immediately post to your Facebook. It will immediately post to your LinkedIn page or to your Twitter. So you don't have to. You can selectively post things and not have to, be on there constantly.
Mojo Nation, we will have links to all of these tools on the show notes for this show. How much time, Dr. DeReuter, should doctors be spending on social media each day?
Well,
because I look at it and I think it could sort of take over.
It can take over, sure, and you have to be organized. You have to, if you do have a service. You find, number one, find your chiropractic articles or whatever you want to share that's interesting, and program them to tweet or share throughout the day. Throughout the day, and then the other stuff, the cool stuff, is as it happens. I would say, oh, you see something very interesting. Hey, take a picture of it, post it on Instagram, and and a lot of these social networks kind of complement each other, or you can piggyback almost. Like a picture that goes on Instagram could very well work very well on a Facebook post and Twitter. Pictures are fantastic because they get a lot of likes. Videos are incredible. My goodness. And you did mention that I am a co-owner in our local health food store. Mm-hmm. And this just kind of dropped into my lap, what happened. But I found that little Facebook live videos, just regular videos, they're incredible. And people will just watch those and share them. And if you can boost it a little bit, and it has an incredible reach. So, but the key, listen, the key to everything, I think, is it has to appear sincere and not just not like, okay, this is my day. You can follow my day, and you can know how my day would, or what I did today. For instance, I had a bad day the other day on Monday, and it really was. It was one of the, and I was grumpy and grouchy, and I, of course, like everything else, I happened to post it, and I remember I was adjusting this little boy, and he kicked me in the groin, and oh my gosh, and it was just everything, and just one on top of the other, and I posted about all this stuff. And then the next day, all my clients coming in, they're like, "Oh, are you having a better day, doc? Here I brought you a little something." So even if you think people aren't paying attention, or nobody liked this post, or you know what, people read it. You're connecting deeper and deeper with those people. So I am their guy. So somebody brought me a little gift basket just because I had a bad day. That's fantastic. I think, and that makes them feel like, you know what, they're connected to me. I am their guy.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I think it fundamentally changes the conversation. Pre-social media, we maybe knew that a coworker or someone in our life was taking a vacation, but now the conversation becomes, hey, it looked like your trip to the Bahamas was a lot of fun. And the level of personal engagement is strikingly different. Just a few years ago, I got off of Facebook, and I was off for maybe 2 or 3 years, and I used to be pretty heavily engaged in it, but once I wasn't, I lost that urge to always check and post and things like that. I just forgot that it was even there. And in the last year, I've created a new profile and re-engaged, but it certainly has changed the conversation. I've had a very dramatic, apples to apples to comparison of before and after. And I think, again, like you were saying, making yourself authentically you and a human being that other human beings can relate to is so key, instead of a cold, doctor-patient relationship here. And I agree with you. Put in some spine tips or healthcare tips, but really at the end of the day, we want to know, how is your life?
Exactly. And again, you see your friends that have this perfect life. Everything's, travel and this and that, everything is perfect. No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying put your, you're having a rough day. You're having, you're having a little challenge here. Your practice members or people that follow, they may provide some support that you need. I mean, and I'm not talking from a business standpoint or anything. You know what? Hey, man, listen, I know you had a bad day. It'll just a little encouragement. That's good enough that you can connect with people on just a deeper level. I'm not, there's some people that are on 24/7, and some of my friends will even accuse me of that. But I don't believe that I live on social media. I just happen to have a big window of my life through social media.
Well, Doctor, as you know, this podcast is all about providing actionable content for our listeners. So either social media or something just in terms of running a practice, what are some action steps that either a new doc, let's break it down, action steps for a new doc that they can start doing tomorrow, and an experienced doc who's maybe stuck or looking for a change? What could they do tomorrow? One thing
I would, you could tweet about anything you want, but I'm old-fashioned in the way that I think if you're sitting in an office, empty office, waiting for people to walk in off social media, I think you really need to get out there and put your hands on some people. Old-fashioned, get out there, do a spinal screening. One thing that would work fantastically for us is set up a booth at a flea market and just sit there and get your hands on people. People are going to stop and ask you questions. People are going to ask how ridiculous you are as a chiropractor to be at a flea market, whatever. At least people are talking to you and you're putting your hands on people. I remember when I first started out, On a day that was so cold, we had to alternate. We had the car running, and we had a couple of my people, my staff. We would alternate sitting in the car because it was so cold, and we'd be out there just talking to people. And I remember we took a massage chair and worked on people, but just pointed out areas. Hey, look, you're probably getting headaches because of this. And once you touch them, you lose a lot of barriers. So I am big on, if you are not busy, you can do promotions and all that. But bottom line is, fastest, quickest thing, you want to fill the appointment book, is just get out there and talk to people and work on people.
And what about for the... Oh, I'm sorry.
For the experienced doc, I don't know, an experienced doc, you kind of get set in your ways, and basically, if what you're doing isn't working, don't do it anymore. It's just, get a complete assessment of what's happening, and don't do it. It's like, well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. Hey, you know what? You're an experienced doc. You're not as busy. You're not as your office isn't. It's not happening like it used to be. Well, then stop it and try something different. If you're not on social media, hey, maybe get on social media. If you haven't done a spinal screening in a long time, maybe it's time to get out there. Just you kind of have to shake it up, because it's very easy to fall into a rut, and then you have this fake doctor mentality that, I can't go to a flea market, I can't do this, what would people say, just go out there and do it.
Well, let's shift. We are now in the home stretch of the interview. Sadly, it will have to come to an end, but in terms of life success, we can learn a lot through our successes, and we can also learn even more through our failures. Have you had any big failures or challenges that you've had to overcome in your life? What led up to that, if you had them, and what did you learn from it?
Well, sure. I mean, I opening the practice, when I kind of touched on this when I was opening this practice here. I was in a bit of a bind. We were financially, because I took a pay cut for the great opportunity. So we were in a bind, and things weren't coming together like they should. We were in I let it go as long as I could, but I couldn't. We were having severe financial trouble, and I remember my contract was up, and I had to make a choice whether to re-sign with these people or to go on my own. And I didn't have much of a window, and I didn't have any capital because we've been living off of all the money I had saved. So I remember I had enough money to live on for 3 months. And I remember, if this doesn't work out, we'll be homeless in 3 months. That's, and I really had tried to, I wanted to open better, plan it out better, but it was only, I didn't have the capital to open. So I ended up renting a room in a psychologist's office, and working that way. But as far as living expenses and I was married and 2 kids, and we only had money for 3 months. So that was a huge challenge. But I'm happy to say we never got to that point. And because it's fear of failure, fear of being homeless is a great motivator.
Right. And I would imagine that one of the lessons that you learned was to control expenses as well, because when you don't have money coming in, you have to watch every penny.
Absolutely. And to this day, it's like, no, are we sure we need this piece of equipment? And my staff will roll their eyes. Dr. Dan's so cheap. But it's not that. It's like, if it's not needed, then we don't need to have that. So it's I don't know if it's a mantra or anything, but it's just you have to be fiscally responsible.
When you think of the word success, is there a particular person that comes to mind, and why? Well,
always, I have the quote, the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote on my wall. And, if you have, and it still, my God, it still chokes me up to even think about it. The line that says, if one life has breathed easier because you have lived, then that is success. And that's, I really feel that it's money success is not necessary if you are enjoying what you're doing and you are helping people and you are making somebody's life better, then my gosh, what else do you want?
What a powerful source of inspiration for what we do and the difference we make. I love what you said. Final thoughts. Do you have a favorite book you would like to recommend?
Ooh, wow. And I every now and then there's something in fashion that I will recommend, but I always go back to The Alchemist. And that was one, when I read it, I was in chiropractic school. I was starting chiropractic school. And of course there's all these little obstacles that come up. And I remember how this one line that said, when the universe conspires to make things happen for you, these doors will open and things will magically happen. And I really, and I give that book as gifts to people because that's just one. It was a great motivational book, and at the time it just hit home, and I probably need to go read it again because it is that motivational for me, that how when you are aligned, when you have a purpose and you are aligned with it, and everything in the universe will align with you and make it happen.
Yeah, I've read that book. It's been a while for me as well. But that's a beautiful piece of advice. That's one that jumps out at me. And I heard someone the other day say a version of it, which was, if you are afraid to jump, take the leap and the net will appear. And I thought that was a similar sort of a statement. But it's, fear, it turns out, is one of those things that can hold us it can hold us back. But it turns out it's so in our heads and artificial. Just take the leap and you'll find that, for example, this podcast is a fairly new podcast, but every day it's opening doors for me that I would have never imagined had I not taken the leap.
Fantastic. And then, fear, I didn't want to do this podcast. What are people going to say? He sounds weird. But let's do it.
What is the best business advice you've ever received?
Don't charge it. Wait till you have the money and pay for it.
That is good advice, I think, whether you're a business owner or not. Pay when you have the money. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. DeReuter. It's been a pleasure. I got to say that again because I said your name wrong.
It's fine. I that's why most of my clients call me Dr. Dan, and that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Dan. I really appreciate it. Sharing your valuable insights with myself and our listeners. What is the best way for people to contact you to find out more about what you do and what you're involved with?
Well, I have a page. It's gone through many incarnations, but now I have it as my personal blog, if you will. It's called healthfultips.com, and you have all my information there and links to pretty much every little bit of social media things that I do, and links to my office, and links to even the health food store and that kind of stuff. So if you find me there, then you can shoot me an email and ask me some questions if you'd like. If see what I look like and see what I had for lunch.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Great stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast. Go to chirobusinessmojo.com for show notes on today's episode, and jump on over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review if you enjoyed the show.